What I also find to be true with neutrality is when you finally drop that resistance around the thing that you feel so emotionally charged about, that's when it ends up manifesting. That's when it ends up working out in maybe a way you didn't plan or a way you didn't think of. And things do start to connect and manifest in your life once you're not worried about them so much. And again, I know some of this can be hard. So it just takes practice in feeling your feelings and practicing forgiveness and allowing yourself to feel a certain way to get to that neutrality.
Welcome to Alignment Adventures. This is a podcast where we explore what it means to live a fulfilling, aligning, and present life. I'm your host, Lindsay Tanner, and I am so grateful that you are here.
Hello, my loves. I hope you all are doing so well, or maybe just doing the best that you can. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, we are in deep winter, and I know that these times can be very difficult. I recently have had the opposite effect in the past 6 years because in the winter, Arizona really shines and it's beautiful outside. And I mean, we can have our gloomy colder days, but winter is nothing like it is in the Midwest. And I'm just truly feeling so connected to the seasons of nature. As you guys probably have noticed, that has been a fascination of mine the past few years, is just like aligning my life with the natural cycles of the earth, celebrating the solstices and the equinoxes, and really just diving into the themes of each season, whether it's the theme of the season like winter or the theme of the zodiac season, whatever it may be. It just feels so natural, so intuitive, and so interesting to me. And as I'm saying that, like I said before, we are in deep winter. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, I know I have a few Southern Hemisphere listeners out there, and you're in the opposite from us. So send us some of your virtual sunshine and warmth. But it's just really got me thinking about winter as a whole, and how a lot of times we can just fight all the things that we feel naturally inclined to do, like hibernate and rest and slow down. I mean, I'm sitting down at my desk for the first time in almost a week. Maybe I think it's been 5 days. But I've truly been like practicing what I preached this last week, and my mind was fighting it so hard. Every time Arlo naps, like I've said a million times, that's when I get my work done, and I'm like, just get on the little mouse wheel and just go as soon as he's asleep. And this week I was like, no, like I'm going to slow down. When he naps, I'm going to go rest. I'm going to go do something I want to do, whether it's read a book or watch a show or just do nothing or nap or whatever it may be. I've even been sleeping in till when he sleeps, which I usually try to get up before him. Anyways, all that to say, I have been intentionally resting when I can, and I hope this gives you permission, not that you need it from me or from anyone, to truly rest this season. I really think that's why we get so sick in the winter, is we fight this urge to hibernate and rest like the rest of nature is doing. Like, it's so natural for us to want to slow down. And when you slow down, you realize things. When you slow down, you learn things about yourself. When you slow down, you nourish yourself, and you can go within and just like maybe discover the new person that you are in this season, because we're changing all the time, and there's just so many gifts in slowing down. That's been a major theme for us this year, I feel like, as a whole, but especially now in winter. That is something I've been doing. And like I said, even though my mind hated it, it was shaming me the whole time, like, you should be doing this, this, and that. When Arlo's napping, my soul loved it. I'm feeling so refreshed, so rejuvenated, and I'm just so happy to be with you here today. Which, by the way, I hope you guys have been liking the science and spirituality connection episodes. We're gonna have more of them like sprinkled throughout. They'll probably not all be in a row, or maybe some of them will be. We're just flowing with the river of life here. There's no plan. We're just flowing with it. You never know what you're gonna get each week from Lindsay. It is fresh out the oven. But this week, I really want to dive into a topic that I wrote down in my notes. I've been observing it a lot in my life, something I've been experimenting with, and that is finding neutrality. Now, when I say that, you may think a ton of different things in your mind, like being neutral, like, oh, that doesn't sound very exciting. That sounds like you're giving in. That sounds like you're not taking a stance. But let me explain a little bit more. There's so much beauty in finding neutrality around certain situations. Like, I want you to just pause for a moment, even literally pause this if you need to, and think about something in your life that you have such emotional charge around, or so much resistance around, or so much expectation or baggage, or whatever it may be. You just have so much there around a certain topic. For me, I'll just be candid and open and honest with you guys. It can be this podcast sometimes, which is so interesting because it brings me so much joy. But I just should myself a lot, and I have expectations of where I should be and what I should be doing. And really, this just brings me so much joy and it's so much fun. And I'm getting back to that, just making it fun and doing it for fun and letting it unfold. But related to whatever it may be in your life, it may be work. That was a big thing for me as well. And that's something I have to remind myself of all the time, is that I'm no longer in a job that just doesn't align with me in this season. And I think that's something a lot of us, most of us, have to go through. And you learn so much from those situations. And a lot of times you need to be there to learn certain skills or meet certain people or just have certain experiences. But eventually, through doing all the things we talk about here on the podcast, you end up exactly where you need to be. And I'm so grateful for that. I know I am exactly where I need to be in this season. Okay, I always want to be transparent with you guys, and maybe you find it funny, but if you just heard Arlo and Steven, they were right below my office. I swear there's I don't think there is any insulation between the floor and the basement where they were playing. So I just had to encourage them to go into a different room. But you know what? That just is what it is in the season. Like, that is the season I am in. I am a full-time mom, and that takes priority, and that seeps into every area of my life. I remember saying before I had Arlo, I was like, I'm not going to be one of those people that loses themselves in being a mother. And that's just the name of the game. Like, becoming a mother, birth itself and becoming a mother is like the story of the phoenix. I feel like you die and are reborn again, and you just are a different person. And it's a total life change. And that's not what we're talking about in this episode, but here I am going on a rant about it. Could be a whole nother episode. Anyways, go back to a certain situation in your life that you have a lot of emotional charge around. That's another example for me, embracing motherhood. Like, I'm still in the trenches of that. And this week of rest has really helped me get a lot of clarity around that. But for a long time, I had so much resistance to being a stay-at-home mom. And I had so much resistance to changing, to letting that change my entire life. So whatever it is you have in your life that you, like I said, have so much resistance to, or expectation, or baggage, or emotion, or whatever, just think about that for a moment. Now, like we've said so many times, emotion isn't a bad thing. Emotions are there to guide you. They help you know when you're in alignment and when you're not in alignment. And getting in touch with your emotions and allowing yourself to feel your emotions and just getting in touch with yourself is a huge part of my message, and just a huge part of living an aligning life, living your best life. On the other side of feeling those emotions, I think you can find neutrality around a certain situation. And finding neutrality around a situation, whether it's a work or relationship or, something to do with your health, whatever it may be, being neutral about that thing just frees up so much space and can bring so much peace around that subject. We devote so much time and worry and mental effort and our mental stories around these things that we feel so emotionally charged about or have so much resistance around. For me, it's the podcast and resisting being a full-time mom sometimes. You can see how those two are connected, right? But finding neutrality around that just brings me so much peace. Like, for instance, with the podcast, my goal going into, or my intention going into 2024 is to just come on here, share my heart, have fun, and see what unfolds. That is a part of Bashar's formula. I think I've talked about it on here before. That is a huge part of my 2020-24 intentions, but it's just doing what is fun for you, doing what excites you, following your passions without expectations of the outcome. And that is so hard. So going back to neutrality, that kind of lines up with that, right? Like feeling neutral about a situation. You're neutral about the outcome. The outcome is not going to affect your internal environment. Like you can have peace around the situation no matter what happens with the external situation. So for me, whether the podcast becomes this huge success and lots of people listen and it helps change a ton of people's lives and helps them live in alignment and helps raise the vibration of the planet, awesome. If it's just a podcast that I can go back and listen to and feel aligned myself and have these great reminders, that is also amazing because that does bring me so much joy. I do it all the time, re-listen all the time, watch my YouTube videos all the time. Maybe that sounds like egotistical or something. Honestly, I just need the reminders all the time. My subconscious needs it. So let's take this back to your life. What is the situation you have? Can you find some neutrality around that situation? And this may be multi-layered. This may involve, like we said, you feeling your feelings. This may involve you practicing forgiveness to maybe yourself or someone else. This may involve just like breaking down the situation and getting to the root of how you really feel about it, or maybe it's something that you're wanting or not wanting. Like, again, going to the podcast, I always thought, it would be cool if this became like a huge success and like up there with the other popular podcasts. Like that would be awesome. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh, that would take away from so many other beautiful things in my life. Like being a stay-at-home mom, the thing that I'm resisting. Like that would take a lot of time away from Arlo, and who knows what my life would look like then. It's so interesting to see the intentions we put out there and then to see how life unfolds. I won't remind you all of the huge things that happened to us in 2023, right? But those things had to happen the way they did so we could be where we are now. Like, let me give you a practical instance of life flowing and things always working out for our highest good. So Stephen came home the other day and he was like, I know why our trip got cut short. And I was like, wait, what? Like, what trip? What are you talking about here? I need more context. And he's like, I know why our RV trip got cut short. And I was like, please tell me this. I would love to hear your answer and why that trip that we dreamed about for so long got cut short. And the company that he's working at now, which he always planned to work at and he really wanted to work at, that was kind of always the plan in the back of our mind. And he loves his job now. Like, it is the perfect fit for him, for our family in the season. So grateful for that. They are on a hiring freeze right now. So the way that we had planned out our trip, he probably would have been looking for a job like at this point in time because we would have been done with our trip and this company would have been on a hiring freeze. So that, along with so many other things like the way we rented out our Phoenix house, I don't think that would have happened the way it did if we weren't going on the RV trip, and the way I quit my job and didn't get another job. That wouldn't have happened if we didn't plan to do the RV trip. So it's like we had to do the RV trip to have all these other things fall into place for our highest good, for where we're at right now. And I love looking at life that way. Maybe that's looking too in depth to some people, but I love seeing how things synchronistically lined up, because that's what I talk about on here all the time. Not to mention we create our reality, right? But like when you drop that resistance, when you have neutrality about things, when you let life flow through you, that doesn't mean you're not taking action. You're still taking action on the things that bring you joy. And of course, you're still showing up in your life and doing the things that have to be done, but there's comes a certain point where things start to free up a little bit, or you realize you can do the things that you hate in a different way, or you don't have to do them at all. Like, it just makes life so magical when you live this way. And I get caught up in it all. And this week has been a good reminder that I am in a reality that is so dreamy to me right now. Like, I have all the things that I've been wanting for so long. And I just get caught up in like the mind stories. And I forget how amazing my life is right now. And my mind is like, don't say that. That sounds so, again, egotistical or whatever. But it's true, like we get so caught up in trying to get a happy life that we forget that we have a happy life right now. That's an Abraham Hicks quote that I'm probably totally butchering, but it connects to all the things that I'm saying today, with finding neutrality, with releasing resistance, with embracing what is, with looking back on how things have flowed and see the synchronicity, see how you needed that thing to happen so you could be where you're at right now. Like if nothing else, let's give some homework. There's a couple different things we could do for homework. I haven't done homework in a long time, so this feels exciting. Brings me back to my roots. But think of something that has happened to you in the last year, a few years or whatever, that maybe was really challenging. How did that end up serving you in the long run? Like, things are always happening for our highest good. How did that thing help you grow? Maybe reroute you onto a different path. Maybe you're on a path that was not leading you towards your highest good, and that thing totally helped reroute you. Or did you learn something from it? Or did it help you sync up with another timeline? Or maybe you met someone, or whatever it may be. Like, hindsight is so beautiful sometimes. And another piece of homework that you can do is, again, find that thing that is very emotionally charged for you. You have a lot of resistance around, like you want this thing, but you don't know how it's going to happen. Your mind has all these stories of how it's not going to work, whatever it may be. Again, it could be work, a relationship, to do with your health, whatever it may be. Can you find just neutrality around that situation? So you're not like thinking negatively about it. You're not thinking positively about it. You just are neutral. Like, I think there is so much power in neutrality that it's not talked about enough. Like, a lot of people are like, think positive all the time, blah, 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 which I hope I don't sound like that on here. Of course, it feels amazing to be in that high vibration state. And for me, it's like when I'm feeling the feelings of limitlessness or freedom or just love or connection, that's when I'm feeling like positive and high vibe. But I also have the lower vibration emotions, and that's okay. But the power of neutrality, that's like peace, contentment. That's also beautiful too. Like, there's nothing wrong with neutrality. Neutrality is actually very powerful and very beautiful to have around situations, especially the situations that you have so much emotional charge around. You know what I also find to be true with neutrality is when you finally drop that resistance around the thing that you feel so emotionally charged about. That's when it ends up manifesting. That's when it ends up working out in maybe a way you didn't plan or a way you didn't think of. And things do start to connect and manifest in your life once you're not worried about them so much. And again, I know some of this can be hard. So it just takes practice in feeling your feelings and practicing forgiveness and allowing yourself to feel a certain way to get to that neutrality. So back to my practical application to my life. I've really been finding neutrality around the podcast and about being a stay-at-home mom. I mean, I say that, and I will say that I still struggle sometimes. Like, you know, life can be chaotic, taking care of an energetic little toddler, and also so rewarding at the same time. Like, he's starting to hug us back, like wrap his arms around your neck and like hug you really tight, and it's just like nothing prepares you for that. Nothing prepares you for that. But then I'll also go and like break my new gua sha that I just bought for my face. Well, I don't think he broke it, but I think he cracked it, and then I broke it when I was using it on my face, and that was super sad. And you know, I'm like, we can have nothing nice here. But, you know, it's just the ebbs and flows. Like, that is life. That is life. That is the beauty of life. There are highs, there are lows. And finding our alignment is learning how to navigate it all. Because those are never going to go away. On this physical plane, I don't see them going away anytime soon. I mean, I think the vibration of the planet is raising, but we're still going to have our highs and our lows. It's learning how to navigate them and learning how to come back to your truth and learning how to come back to neutrality if you need to. Just finding neutrality on those subjects that are so charged for you. So I hope this was useful for you. I almost didn't even record an episode this week. I was like, no, keep resting. But you know what? It felt right, and it felt good to sit down at my desk. And I just love doing this. I love doing this so much. And I'm going to continue to do this because it's fun for me and it's expansive. And if it's ever not fun and aligning for me, I won't do that. Like, that is my promise to all of you. I will never force this. I will never, ever force this. So That means these podcast episodes might be a little more sporadic, but you know what? We are all just adjusting to all the seasons. That's the beauty of seasons. It's always changing. And my soul loves change. My soul loves experiences. My soul loves all of that. So please subscribe if you are new here. Maybe you want to come along for this crazy journey with us. Maybe not. But if you're resonating with this episode, please hit that subscribe button. It just helps the podcast so much. Also, as you may know, we have a YouTube channel for the podcast. You can always go there as well, especially if I have interviews, you can see their face. Otherwise, it's just a picture from my life that you stare at, but you still hear the podcast. And I also have my personal YouTube channel. That is also so fun for me. I try to do a video each week. This week, again, I was resting, so I do not have any, but I think I'm going to do some more like vlog type videos next week because that just feels really fun. So I like experimenting on there. That is a very experimental space for Lindsay, but it's usually like yoga flows, meditations. I call them talk videos where we talk about stuff like this, just in a different way. Please share this episode with anyone that you think it needs to hear this message on neutrality and just flowing with life and embracing the highs and lows. We're all in this together for sure. And again, I'm just sending you all so much love, all the highest vibes, and of course, I will see you in the next episode of Alignment Adventures.